guys, welcome to Horology Biology. Now, many months ago, I was sent in this super strange watch. And I know there's a lot of videos out there on YouTube where people have been sent this. Pretty much every YouTuber that deals with watches has received this watch, and they contacted me. The difference between those videos and my video is nobody does it the way that I do it, because I'm going to fully strip down this watch, clean it, and rebuild it, because I want to know exactly what's going on inside this thing. Now, I might pronounce this wrong, but this is the Geya Planetary Flywheel Mark II. Like I said, I'm going to fully strip this watch down, I'm going to clean it, and I'm going to rebuild it. But first, I want to check it on the timographer like I would with any mechanical watch, and it doesn't look good. No, sir, does not. As you can clearly see, low amplitude, like the timing is way out, etc. So I'm a little bit confused. The other thing that I didn't like is you could see that lone jewel trying to escape. That is not a loyal jewel. It should not be where it is. And obviously I will fix that later on in the video. First, I'm going to open it up. And there's been quite a few surprises with this, I must admit. For a short video, there's a lot of surprises. First, I'm going to remove the movement from this whopping 46mm case, and the whole movement just lowers. It's like lowering an engine out of a car. That reveals the gasket, which I am going to remove and put aside because I'm just going to reuse it. And then we can observe this mechanical wonder and basically work out exactly how everything's going on. As you can see, it is a tourbillon watch where the balance completely and the whole escapement actually rotates in a clockwise manner, which is pretty cool. I must admit, when I saw it, I gave it a wind from the back. It doesn't have a crown, but it has like a winder that you can wind on the back to wind up the mainspring. I'm also a little bit confused about the mainspring because it doesn't lock, so it's not a hand wind, but at the same time, it's not an automatic watch. But I do believe that there is 100% a automatic mainspring that's inside the watch because it just does not lock up. It just keeps going and going and going. What I need to do, of course, is remove the hands of the watch, and I'm also going to remove the dial as well. Now, everything's really super delicate on this piece, so I'm being really, really careful. The first thing I do is obviously remove this dial, and then I can see the gears underneath, which do nothing. Nothing at all. No, sir, they don't, as you can clearly see. They are literally just decorative. They have two screws underneath holding both of those other gears, but the way that the dial is positioned, you don't see it from above, so it's purely decorative. Then I'm going to remove this little plate, which has a jewel in the middle, and it's held in with the 3 screws, which turned out that only 2 of the screws actually hold it down, and the jewel is not connected to anything, as you can clearly see. Then, of course, there's 4 screws which are holding the timing mechanism together. I'm carefully just holding that with my fingers on the other side because obviously I don't want it to just drop. And then we can take a look underneath. Just taking it off with the tweezers, and I've left those 2 decorative wheels on the top. And then, of course, we can see underneath that we've got a rounder quartz movement, which is fine, fair enough. And I'm not saying that the guys at Geya said differently about that. But one thing I would like to say is, as you clearly noticed on the movement, the battery is held in with 1 screw. Now, replacing a battery on this watch is a bit of a nightmare because you would have to completely remove the whole movement. You would have to then remove the little cover plate. Then you would have to remove the whole timing mechanism to turn it over to be able to unscrew and replace the battery, which in my opinion is wild. Like, that's a lot of work, and good luck taking that to your local jewelers to basically change your battery, because that's not going to happen. And I would say that the average amount of people out there are not going to be able to do that at all. So I really don't think that's a good thing. The next thing is we've come into finding more decorative gears. So obviously we could see that a quarter of the gears have cut off, obviously because it was underneath the timing mechanism, so we didn't see it, which subsequently obviously means that the blue decorative jeweled piece doesn't move because obviously the gear that it's connected to doesn't rotate in any shape or fashion, and it's not even a full circle. So then I'm going to remove this planet, which I think is quite cool. It is fully functional as well. As you can see, it has a gear underneath. I'm not actually going to remove the top of it. It's basically like a hand, but because it's quite big, I don't want to break it And obviously I don't have replacement parts for this, but it's very, very simple setup, as you can see. Off comes the balance as well. Now, the main problem with this watch is there's no way of dewinding this, as you could clearly see. And it took me by surprise. I don't know why it took me by surprise, because I should have realized this or waited until the movement was completely dead. But regardless, the entire tension of this watch was held on by that one gear, which thankfully didn't break. So I'm going to remove the barrel, and underneath you could see it's got a couple of intermediate wheels, and it has a click as well, but you have no way of accessing that click. I'm not going to remove the mainspring from this watch, and the main reason I couldn't remove it was it has a screw underneath, but I tried clockwise and also anti-clockwise in case it was a reverse threaded screw, and it was not giving, and the last thing I wanted to do was break that. So yeah, I left the mainspring in. Now, when it comes to the tourbillon, this was quite challenging and, yeah, delicate to say the least. You have basically got the anchor or the pallet forks, and you've got the escape wheel and the balance all connected into one, so it rotates. And it looks nice, I have to say. But it's super fiddly because while I'm trying to remove all these parts with screws, I'm fighting against the rest of it, which is, as you can see, constantly rotating, which was a bit of a nightmare. Some choice words were said because I didn't want to break anything. No, sir, I did not. But we got there in the end. Taking off the bridge for this, and then underneath we've got a C-clip. Now, I'm covering this with a little piece of Rodico because these are notorious for flying across the room, never to be seen again, along with that lone jewel. And using a piece of Rodico over this will just help you stabilize it, basically. Impressive to see that this did have a jewel. And the other thing I would say is this is literally the first AliExpress watch that I have seen oil on. This watch has been oiled. So props to the guys at Geya for that, for not scrimping on the oil, as a lot of the ones that I've seen do. And then I'm going to check out that lone jewel, which I will fix back later on, where I believe it should have lived.
Super fresh, super nice, HB goodness.
So of course, now that the watch is fully being stripped down, we're going to rebuild it. I did clean it, and I'm going to put it all back together. But getting back to the beginning of the video when we put it on the timographer, of course, now it makes complete sense. This thing has no timing mechanism whatsoever, so there's nothing actually to time. The tourbillon, so to speak, is purely decorative, and it's not connected to, obviously, the timing mechanism whatsoever. Now, this watch is currently, I believe, $649. That's a lot of money. And the question is this worth it? I don't know. I mean, each to their own in regards to this. It's certainly not my kind of style. As you guys pretty much know, I'm pretty much strictly vintage in regards to the watches that I wear. But I'm curious in the comments if you could let me know, is this something that you would spend your $649 on for a kind of tourbillon watch, but it's not mechanically, or sorry, it's the timing of it is not connected to it in any shape or form. I like what they've done, that they've tried to go with this approach, but this watch, as far as I'm concerned, is purely optics, and it hides a lot of things. And you only know that when you actually get into it and you fully strip it down and rebuild it. For example, the jewel on the right side, which is connected to gears, but those gears are actually, yeah, they don't do anything. They're not even full gears. They're half chopped off and hidden underneath the timing mechanism or the quartz, the rondo movement. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys think about it. Now, also, the other thing is putting back the escapement and the balance. This was challenging. This actually took me quite some time. I think I spent about 45 minutes on this. And you might be like, yeah, but HB in the video, it looks good. Yeah, but you guys ain't going to sit there for 45 minutes watching me fumble with this. The main reason is it's constantly moving and spinning, and it's delicate. And I didn't want to break anything. The other thing as well is normally when you put a balance on, you would make sure that you don't overbank it, and you would be able to, line it up correctly or because you have some power in the watch. I obviously don't have any power in this. Plus, I'm fighting with this thing rotating, and I'm having to screw these 3 screws on the top lightly while making sure that I've not overbanked it. And on top of that, making sure that everything's going as it should. There was some language. There was some language, for sure. Now, at the beginning of June, I am going to be relaunching the Horology Biology website. I've been really quiet the last few months because I've been busy. I have been super busy building not just the HB website, but also something else. And I've put together a video which I'm going to drop real soon, which is going to inform you guys all of the things that I've been building in the background. And I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to what you guys are going to think about it. And it's been a lot of work. And yeah, I'm really, really curious, like I said, about what you guys are going to think to that. So look out for that video that's going to drop within the next couple of weeks. And let me know what you think. So the barrel bridge is in and I'm just adding some oil. I'm using some 1300 on these jewel posts. Whether that's the right oil for this, I am not entirely sure. And to be honest, considering that it's not affecting timing in any shape or form, as we clearly know, I'm not particularly worried about it. And neither should you. No, sir, you should not. But it is important to have lubrication, which is why I've obviously applied some. I've added in the gear, which is going to connect to the decorative planet piece, which does rotate as well. I'm not even sure how quick this rotates. I'm not entirely sure. The tourbillon with the balance of the escapement and everything has also been put on, and I've added some charge into the watch by winding it underneath. And as you can see, it is running, and I'm happy about that. I'm using some 9010 on the jewels of the escapement. I didn't oil the pallet forks, if I'm honest. I just completely forgot. But again, I'm not overly worried because it's not going to affect anything to do with timing. This is just purely for rotational optical views, let's say. I'm mad curious what you guys are going to think about this watch. So I fit it on this plate and then also all of these little plates which fit on top. And all have different size screws. So I had to be really careful with these screws as well, making sure that I put the right ones back in the right place. That's why I ended up swapping for a parts tray to this Enica box, which I really like. I've used it many times, especially if it's for parts where I want to keep them all separate and I have more options, like more storage available, which is also really good. Now I'm adding on another decorative piece. Don't know if you spotted it earlier on in the video, but you can see this jewel post, which looks like the top of the balance. But again, it doesn't do anything. It literally, if you look at the watch from the side when it's out of the movement from the side when it's out of the watch, then you can clearly see that it just literally sits about 1 to 2 millimeters above the balance. But it's jeweled, but it's not connected to anything at all. I have refit the quartz movement, as you can see, and I'm putting on this little plate with the jewel in the center. Now, I believe that's where the lone jewel comes from because it doesn't look like it's fully right. And what you'll see later on is it was a little bit sticky. So I think that's literally just being glued on, and then that jewel has popped off or something. Maybe it got banged around in packaging, I don't know. But I do believe that that's where it should live because there's certainly nowhere else where it can go. I've fitted the decorative gears underneath the dial and the dial's gone back on, so now I can just refit the hands. With it being a quartz one, I'm going to actually just put the hour hand on first and then I will align it to 12. And the way you do this with this watch is there's actually a button. I didn't notice it at first, but there's a button underneath. And if you press that, it pushes a lever against this timing mechanism and it will rotate the hands so that you can set the time correctly. On goes the minute hand as well. That's just friction fit like any standard watch. And then I've just applied that and then just making sure that everything's going around as it should. And I'm happy with that. So the jewel that I mentioned, I do believe that this is the correct location for it. That jewel that was there, it had some gooey kind of stuff on top of it. So I really think that this is where it comes from. and it does fit. So don't do this on a normal watch. Sorry, don't do this on an expensive or a vintage watch. Please use a proper jewel inset to refit jewels. But as it's just glued on, I literally just pressed it back. I'm going to give a quick blow, get all the dust off if there was any there. I'm also going to blow the inside of the case as well, in case any dust got onto that massive crystal, huge dome crystal, as you could see. And then I can just lower it on and just case up this watch. And it's been a bit of a journey. My overall take on this, not my style, if I'm honest. I think it's pretty expensive for what it actually is. And I'm not a fan of watches that have decorative things that kind of try to look like it's doing something when it's actually not. So there we have it, guys. This was the Geya Planetary Flywheel Mark II. If you like this video, hit a like on it, please. It helps the channel, and I need all the help I can get. Guys, 2 more videos on the screen right now if you've got nothing else to do. And as always, till next time.